Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Old Man Nate, and it's that time of year again where Old Man Nate does his predictions for the NBA playoffs. If you remember last year, we did it. We broke it down each round, um, and we're gonna do the same thing again this year. But you remember last year, Old Man Nate got every game correct. He predicted the winner for each round. He predicted the winner, and he even got it as what game each series would end. There was one game, there was one series where it was one off, and that was the Lakers and Denver game, Denver series. I picked Denver to win in 5, and they actually won in 4. So that was last year, 2023. So let's see if old man Nate can keep it up, keep that good predictions up. As round 2 of the NBA playoffs kicks off. We'll start with the East, where we have the number 1 seed Boston Celtics taking on the number 4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. So in the first round, Boston beat Miami, a revenge from last year. Remember, Miami, who was an 8 seed last year, made it all the way to the NBA Finals. And this year, Boston made sure that didn't happen again, as Boston eliminated them 4-1. And Miami beat Boston last year, also. So no, I think beat the Knicks, if I remember correctly. Now think about it. Anyhow, and Cleveland got by Orlando 4-3. That went 7 games. We'll see if that is going to affect, or we'll see if a lot of the talking heads say that 7 games is going to affect uh, the Cleveland's legs. It's already been a long season. They already played 82 games. Now you're in the playoffs, and go 7 games in the first round. It can be a little more tiresome on you. As Boston, only went 5, 2 less games, a little bit more rest. Um, so in the series is going to start Tuesday, May 7th, and it's going to be a 6 o'clock game Central, so at 7 o'clock Eastern. And in the series, or the season series, Boston won the season series between Boston and Cleveland 2-1, and the home team won every game. Okay. Now here's a little concern. Porzingis, I don't know if he's going to play. Okay. He got hurt in the first round, and he didn't play in Game 5 um, against Miami. I'm not sure. I don't know. They're not really saying. Porzingis interview the other day, he said, he kind of said he's gonna be back really soon, but at the same time, he didn't say if he'd be able to go in game 1 of this series, or really even at all. Now he kind of let it like he'd come back at some time in the series, but we don't know. And Porzingis is a guy that the only reason his career has really not really taken off, is because of injuries. Everywhere he has been injury prone. This is the first time at Boston, though, that he has been injured like this. So we'll see. We'll see. I think if Porzingis, here's my prediction for the series. If Porzingis plays, okay, and I'm not even saying plays game 1, but if he comes back, say game 2 or 3, then I think Boston wins in 5 games, wins the series in 5 games. If he doesn't come back at all, I think Cleveland will get a couple, and it'll be over in 6. Okay. So I know it's not really what y'all want to hear as far as number of games, but I do think it's going to be all on Porzingis. I just think that his height and what he can do to the game, stretch the defense, and of course help on the glass. Uh, can that those are the types of things you need to go to win an extra game or two, all right, or finish the series off a little sooner. So I just think if he's in there, I'm not saying he's got to be 100%, but just be out there, give him about 20 minutes a game, then I think that they're over in five. But if he doesn't, if he's not able to come back this series, I think Boston still wins the series, but I think it'll be over in 6 games. Sorry about that. My eye's itching. All right. So let's move on to the next series in the East, and that will be the number 2 New York Knicks against the number 6 seeded Indiana Pacers. So New York beat Philly in 6 games, and Indiana beat Milwaukee also in 6 games. Milwaukee was the 3 seed. So Indiana has already pulled an upset in these playoffs. We'll see if they can pull off another one. I don't know if they can or not, but we'll get to that in a second. This series is going to start on Monday, May 6th at 6:30 p.m. Central at 7:30 Eastern. In the season series, Indiana did beat New York 2 games to 1. And um, unlike on the other series where the home team always won, Indiana actually won 1 game in New York and then won their home game and then lost in New York also. So, but I do think this is going to be a good series. New York is just really hot right now. Brunson's killing it, and I'll just say this: them Villanova boys are killing it. There's 3 guys from Villanova that play on the New York Knicks, and they're all 3 showing out in the NBA, and all 3 of them they won it. They won an NCAA championship in college at Villanova, and they're trying to get that NBA championship together. Um, I think that they will get past the Indiana Pacers, and I'm going 6 games. I'm going New York in 6 games, but Indiana's going to be a tough out, man. They should be really good games, and Indiana's got a couple guys over there that can ball too, and Halliburton, and a couple other guys. I can't think of them right now. I didn't write down the players' names. I should have done that. Should have been a little more prepared, but I didn't do that. But anyways, so I've got the New York Knicks advancing in 6 games, and I've got Boston advancing in 6 games if Porzingis doesn't play, 5 games if Porzingis does play. So let's move on to the West. We have the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder against the number 5 seed Dallas Mavericks. In the last round, Oklahoma City beat New Orleans in 4 games, beat them 4-0, and Dallas beat the Clippers in 6. So the Thunder's been resting quite a while. By the way, let's give it up to Oklahoma City. Okay, last year they was in a play-in tournament. Okay, I call it a tournament because you got to. They was in the one where you had to win 2 games, so they was in an 8-9 seed, um, or the 9-10 seed. I'm sorry, they were in a 9-10 seed, and they won the first round, but lost the second to Minnesota. Give it up to Minnesota too. All right, Minnesota did make the playoffs last year, but they were in the playing games and beat Thunder to make it into the actual playoff. The Thunder was in the play-in and then didn't quite make it, but got the number 1 seed. And Minnesota, like I said, give it to them too. It came down to the last game between Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and Denver, all tied going into that last game on who's going to get the 1 seed, the 2 seed, or the 3 seed. The Thunder ended up getting the 1 seed, Denver ended up getting a 2 seed, and Minnesota ended up getting a 3 seed. Let's see who that helped out more. We'll see in the playoffs. So far, both Minnesota and Oklahoma City haven't lost in the playoffs. So um, it's worked out really well for both of them so far. But back to the Oklahoma City and Dallas game. That game's going to be Tuesday, May 7th at 8:30 p.m. Central. That's 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all are going to be staying up late to watch the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder and the number 5 seed Dallas Mavericks play. And in the season series, Oklahoma City won the series 3-1, including 2-0 at home. And so I mean that means it went 1-1 in Dallas. And now I will say this: like the last game uh, was the last game of the season, which was important for the Oklahoma City. It really was important for Dallas, and Dallas sat um, Luca and Kyrie. And I mean, the Thunder set a lot of people too, but the Thunder still blew them out by over 30 points. So um, that game to me is irrelevant because, uh, again, Dallas set their guys. Oklahoma City set theirs too, but Oklahoma City already they were still playing for the 1 seed. They wanted to win that 1 seed, and they did. Just showed, I guess you could say anything. If anything, it showed that Oklahoma City's bench is probably deeper than Dallas's bench. Um, Going into this series, it's you got potential um, player MVP of the season is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, along with Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, who've been their Oklahoma City three main players, and then you got key role players like Lou Dort and um, Kason Williams and oh man, there's a couple other guys I'm trying to think of. Can't Isaiah Joe. Those guys do their role very well, and so the one thing I like about Oklahoma City is they play as a team. There is no I. Even as an MVP candidate, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, even as great years he's had, it's all team ball in that. Dallas is going to come at you with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving and also Tim Hardaway Jr. Those are going to be their three main guys. Um, they've been playing well. I just don't like Dallas. Luka's an ISO guy, and I don't like it. I think that you'll probably see Lou Dort on Kyrie, and you'll probably see Jalen Williams on Luka. And I think that, and there'll be some other guys on too. You'll see probably uh, Isaiah Joe and maybe even Kason Williams also come in and play on Luka as well. But Luka can shoot over Kason, um, may even be able to shoot over Isaiah too. Also, but Jalen Williams will be harder for him to shoot over, and I believe he can. Luka's not the fastest guy. He's just really good at ball handler, and I think that as long as Jay Will stays down and stays in front of him, you know, we will be all right. Here's the thing, and this is going to sound funny, but if the Thunder can keep Luka to 27 points or less, they'll win the ball game. All right, that's going to force Kyrie to go for like 40. I don't think he can do that against the Thunder. I really don't. I think Lou Dort can lock him. I'm not saying lock him up, but can probably hold it just like he did Ingram. I'm not saying I think Kyrie's a lot better player than Ingram, but just stay in front of him, stay in his face. Um, it'll be. I think if you can hold if he can hold him to 20 points or less and Luka to 27 or less, the Thunder win the games each game. All right, even on bad shooting nights. I mean, you look at when the Thunder against New Orleans, 2 games they were held under 100 and they still won the ball games because their defense is so good. So I think that's what Thunder's game plan is going to be. They're young, but they play well together as a team. And I am picking the Oklahoma City Thunder to beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. So Um, and it might. I don't want to say it'll be another a sweep. It's hard to. I mean, Denver did it last year. They swept everybody in the West and lost one game in the NBA Finals. That's really really hard to do. They were really hot last year. Um, and they obviously didn't do it again this year. They didn't repeat that because they lost a game to the Lakers in the first round. So, um, but anyways, I'm not going to sit here and say Oklahoma City will sweep Dallas again. I think that'd be an impressive if they do that. But I will pick them in five games. Move on to the last game of the West and last game of the playoffs to talk about is the Denver Nuggets against the Minnesota Timberwolves. At number 2, Denver Nuggets against the number 3 Minnesota Timberwolves. And remember, I mentioned a while ago how Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota went to the last game of the regular season to see which seed all three of them would be in. And would it work out for all of them? Well, it worked out for all of them up to this point. But this is where it's going to make a difference because both Denver and Minnesota can't advance to the next round. They got to play each other. So if whoever loses this, maybe kicking themselves because they'd be like, man, I could have won the 1 seed. I make it to the next round most likely, you know. So it'd been an easier shot. Like obviously, I do think Oklahoma City has an easier shot at making it to the conference finals than Denver and Minnesota, than both of them. Even though one of them is going to advance, that's a tougher matchup than Oklahoma City and Dallas. And in fact, I think this is going to be the series of the playoffs. Okay. These two teams may be the two best teams in the NBA this year. And that includes somebody from the East. Okay. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be, you want to grab some popcorn, grab your beers, grab your peanuts, grab your food, whatever, and sit down and watch this 2.5 hours of good basketball. Going to be a good one. So this series starts May 3rd, and it actually already started before I was able to take my notes and get this video made. And Minnesota leads the series 1-0. They went on the road and won in Denver by 7 points. In the season, though, they split 2 games apiece. They each won a home game and they each won on the road. So that's how even this is. And also, I forgot to mention this already. So Denver beat the Lakers in 5 games, 4 games to 1, and Minnesota swept Phoenix, swept Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, swept them 4 games to 0. So Minnesota is really hot. Like I said, and also mentioned they already beat Denver 1 game, so they've won. They're 5-0 in the playoffs so far. Very, very impressive. They've got, in my opinion, the future of the NBA. Anthony, man, why am I forgetting his name? God dang. Oh, Ant, they call him. Uh, I want to say Williams, but I don't know that's not right. So, and let me look it up because I can't do this. I cannot sit there. Let me look it up really quick. Edwards, and I didn't even get to where I was looking up yet. I just clocked in my head. So Anthony Edwards, I think he's the future star in the NBA. He reminds me a lot of Michael Jordan. He's got better teams than Michael Jordan did early in his career, but the way he plays, he don't have the moves, the post up moves that Michael Jordan does, but he's a high flyer. He ain't afraid to dunk on you. He can shoot. You leave him open, he can shoot. He just he don't really create his own jump shots, but he can get to the rim really easily and cause a lot of problems, like Michael did. So, but he's young. He's a lot younger than Michael was at this time in his career. So he's got plenty of time. Michael didn't have those same things either when he first got to the NBA. He didn't have the creating his shot like he ended up with late in his career. So Anthony definitely has a chance to do that. But I think he is the next star in the NBA. Him and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander are gonna have got the NBA, got the viewers excited to watch the NBA, watching those guys play. So um, I do, I do think, like I said, I think this is going to be a great series. Originally, I was telling people I thought it was going to go 7 games, but I don't know. I'm liking Minnesota how they're playing right now as a team. Um, it's not just Anthony Edwards, although he does take over games at the end. That's how he put Phoenix away. It was him. They got Connolly on their team, a veteran from Memphis. Um, they got Rudy Gobert, big man inside, and then they got the man Cat, Carl Anthony Towns, 2 big men. They got 2 7-footers. So, and Carl Anthony Towns can stretch the floor. So I think that they're playing really well together right now, and I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves to upset the defending champion Denver Nuggets in 6 games and make it to the conference finals to play the number 1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. So let me recap real quick what I said. So in the East, I got Boston winning in 5 if Porzingis is able to come back in the series. If not, I've got them winning in 6 games. I got the New York Knicks beating Indiana in 6 games. So I got New York Knicks and Boston advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. I got Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. And I've got the Minnesota Timberwolves upsetting the defending champ Denver Nuggets in 6 games. So I've got Oklahoma City and Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. We'll see if I'm right. Tune in for the conference finals predictions right before they start. You can, if you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time Old Man Nate goes live or drops a video. And go in and watch some other videos and leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think Old Man Nate is off his rocker, or yeah, that sounds good. Let me know what you think. I do reply to all comments, so please leave your thoughts. Until then, we'll see you next time right here on Old Man Sports Talk.